Hello, greetings. All right, running a lot late. Didn't get to do the radio show tonight. I had a nice conversation with Spirit World, and it didn't go so well. But either way, so I'm using this what I use for the webinar because Zoom is like really dark. So this is a little bit better. So all right, so our connections are hopefully we can make some kind of connection here. Just and anyways, there's other stuff going on. I'm not going to go into it. It's like, I don't know what's going on with the spirit world. I really don't understand it. It's like, I don't know if they have temps in the spirit world that just don't know what they're doing at all. You ask for help and you hear zero, looking for any help at all, and they just throw a bunch of stuff at you for no reason. And just their plan of communication is not great. I guess there's newbies in there that don't know what they're doing. But either way. All right. Without going into details of what that was all about, but I don't want to go into detail. It's not worth it. But either way, I'm not impressed. Report card for them this week's not going to look so good. It's like, it hasn't been looking too good for a while, actually. Well, that's another thing for if you're aware, part of the awakening, telling the spirit world off every once in a while, every day for that matter. I would believe it brings in a lot of positive, actually. At least you're giving them attention. I mean, you don't always get the right feedback back, but at least it gets there's a fire up their ass. So at least you're paying attention to them. Like the rest of the world doesn't realize they even exist. So it's one way of communicating with them, especially when they do screw up quite a bit, actually. Well, they don't really tell you anything, usually, right? I mean, usually people don't hear anything from them half the time. And that's their deal. And then when they do start talking, they don't know how to communicate sometimes. That's what I had today. And it's like, man, I don't know what's going on. It's like they really don't have no idea what they're doing. I really, really believe that. Some do, but most don't. And that's why we have the world we have today. Chaos. Well, the idea is to hopefully heal the chaos. So I had to do that a little bit of a rant. I'm sorry. It's just like, man, I'm telling you. One thing of, you ask for assistance. Like you go on a drive, you ask for, positivity with that. Hopefully you get it. I don't always get that, but hopefully. But yeah, the spirit world is what I've been picking up on. They're just, I don't know, lackluster in a lot of ways, like with alien disclosure. I mean, obviously, if they don't give us that, at least they can give us some kind of assistance, right? Some kind of direction, and they don't always know what that is, apparently, which is really, really not helpful when you think about it. So, either way, enough of that. I was going to go into, is this something new? Let's see if we get this right. So I'm not sure what it looks like when I do that. Okay. All right. This is ivantar.com. We're just testing this. I don't know what it's going to look like. Anyway, yeah, internet here is pretty slow. Be right with you. Okay, maybe it's not the best idea. So we have private sessions throughout the week. We have More Had Channel, and you have Google Hangouts and Zoom and channeling by phone. And the shop is at 7 days for 10 days for some people. Some others are 13 or 14 days. So doing what we can here. Thank you for your support. Okay, the real deal here is India's mystery temples and the Ellora cave temples. It has a lot of elephants. It has a lot of Anunnaki energies around it. I'm assuming the Anunnaki came in to close a lot of this down or to keep it kind of shut down over time. So there are obviously a lot of different various alien beings. I believe there was at one time, could be wrong about this, a lot of color here at one time. I believe this is all colored, but that all kind of wiped away over the centuries. It is my feeling on it. There's probably no evidence of it anymore, but even like the pyramids that say that was a different color. I believe all this was all colored up for various reasons. That told me exactly what this was all about. Kind of like the catacombs, I guess is what energy I just got. Also with the Mayan rainforest or the temples in the Mayan rainforest. And let's see. Yeah, all these is of Atlantean energies that wanted to be hidden. Now it wasn't. Now, yeah, I mean there are Mayan. You can say the Mayan. Some of the Atlanteans became or called themselves the Mayans over time. They changed their who they are for various reasons. Um, for the third dimensional human to assist. I believe also a lot of Atlanteans were doing sacrifice. They became very dark over time, very lost. So that's another. Yeah, they just sort of even they lost their powers over time, and sacrificing and things like that was another way for them to find themselves. You can say. So it was just a disconnect on all layers. So like these temples, I mean, it doesn't really give us a whole lot of detail. But as Atlanteans, as they were downgrading themselves, depending on those that were connected to the human race, you can kind of get the vibe from it, from some of this stuff, from what it seems. Obviously, not all of them did that. Belize temples. I think it's Belize. I think that's how you pronounce that. It's another energy of now. These are more connected to the sun god. What it feels like is a little bit. That's Honduras. A little bit more positive than the ones in the rainforest. Has a lot of deep, old, and ancient mysteries. A lot of these temples weren't really. I mean, they have ancient histories, but they're not. It's mostly connected to the sun, bringing knowledge from the sun for various reasons. You could say integrating Anunnaki knowledge with humanity, along with all other species, but a lot of it was Anunnaki. As many different species came in to integrate with humans, they had to learn how to adapt to different cultures. Creating different temples was another way of understanding that culture of human. A lot of the human knows all the different type of different. I mean, humans all have. I mean, all these different cultures throughout history, right? So, yeah. So they found ways of how to communicate with them because I don't believe they always knew how to communicate with them. They might have had their own, most likely had their own knowledge, their own language, but not everybody knew how to speak that language, even obviously back then. So they had to slowly relearn quite a bit. Even the Atlanteans thought they can figure everything out, weren't always the case. At least that's the energy that's coming from them. So, I mean, once it was a learning experience by not remembering anything anymore as Atlanteans were going through, forgetting a great deal. So all these temples are showing like as Atlanteans downgrade, it's kind of showing their downgraded process. So they went to castle building instead after the temples were no longer active. So I believe all these temples are actually, I know it sounds weird, but all filled with light, all very colorful. Some of them were, at least, maybe not these, but we're just proud of a high vibration at one time. Now, as it downgraded, you have what we have today. So also, it seems like there's a lot of colors that was here that's not here anymore. As we went to low vibrations, we forgot quite a bit. So, for obvious reasons. Yeah, because some of it, yeah, just Skin colors got darker with some. A lot of Africans were actually, from my perspective, blue. Even a lot of Indians show their Indian gods as blue. So blue plays a big role, just high vibration energies, not to say black. The darker energies are just a different experience. They're not saying why, but there's different various reasons. All that had to do with the sun. The sun's energy changed too. At least the Earth was receiving energies from the sun differently, so skin changed over time to whatever they changed into. They weren't exactly looking for a certain color or anything; it just sort of happened. Well, I'm getting DNA changed because as the Earth went into a lower vibration, it was receiving energies from the sun differently. Of course, there's manipulations and all that, yada yada. Not to go into all of that, but the Anunnaki plays a big role. Basically, Anunnaki, obviously, there's other species, but the Anunnaki is the one that's allowing themselves to be remembered. And basically, they're kind of like the fathers of humanity, sort of meaning like the teacher, like to watch over us, something like that, as the Pleiadians were, but not everybody was equipped for it. Anunnaki is more used to kind of like a lunatic society. Look at it from that point of view. Of well, the Anunnaki, as some dude connect to them, find them, either you love them or you hate them, right? But you have to give this to them. At least they're used to being around. They understand insane asylum worlds like ours. There's plenty more others out there, obviously, that we're not going to fully connect with. So Anunnaki is kind of like your warden for your insane asylum. Obviously, there's once again, you can't explain all the different. Not all beings are making themselves known. If you look at the Earth, you don't have to look at it like a zoo, but it kind of is in some ways. Let's see, one moment. It is a world of so many different species. It's like a museum. It's a library. It's different aspects. It's a library. It's a library. It's words that we don't even have. But it's basically because each of us are a library on our own. You're like a walking library. There's more to it than that, but that's the short version of it. So as you connect to like like computers with files, not every computer has the same file, something like that. Either way. But yeah, we're here to basically downgrade ourselves or upgrade ourselves. Right now, as you know, in the history of the Earth, is as many were here to upgrade, most of the majority downgrade society for various reasons. A lot of it was selfish reasons. There's a lot more to learn in the lower energies, obviously. Let's see. It wasn't always aliens that are involved. Yes, they allowed more aliens to integrate and take us down, but that's always going to be the case. For Atlantean, let's see. There are a lot of magicians, also a lot of Atlantean serpent beings. So cross of Atlantean and serpent, and as you can see, that's all through the temples of your past. They just, some of them, they disconnected from Atlantis for various reasons. They felt like they can do better than Atlanteans. Now, from my perspective, the dragon is one of the most powerful energies out there. And it can get selfish depending on who's connected to. It all depends on who has it. But it can be it's like a nuclear weapon. It's like it can be managed. It can also be used for destruction. And so obviously the human interacting with the dragon energies, it was in this that somebody had to do it. But also for healing, but also because humanity is going through a lot of slavery, what the reptilians went through in their past too. Over time, we're going to see more of the bird beings that are controlling humanity. Eventually, humans aren't really ready to see that aspect of themselves just yet, because it's like a tall order. It's like we'll take a little thing out one at a time. We'll be mad at the reptilians for a little bit, then eventually we'll heal that, and you'll see the carrion beings be mad at them for a while. Just for ringing. And then we'll go up the ladder when humanity is ready to go into that new steps. Right now, you have David Icke talking about the reptilians, which is nothing wrong with that, but he's only showing one aspect of it. So, yeah, there's bird beings that are causing manipulation. Of course, you're trying to find your evidence. Good luck with that. The statues, it's birds on the, you know, on the flags. I mean, how much do you need? It's like, when you look at the bird is pretty much everywhere, and the cat, and they're in various different places. So they're showing where their energies are, especially in India. India is just, like I say, one of the last places of high vibrational energy on the earth. It's a magic place, definitely. Of course, Arabs have their own, everybody has their own magic. The Arabs have a great deal of magic, of course, too, different vibration, especially with Baghdad or Iraq. Iraq is the cradle of human civilization. And of course, Anunnaki is written all over in some of those areas, of course. Because they want to be remembered that, of course, there's other species that they forgot, but the bird, the transition with the bird is very, that's the next level eventually. First, they have to figure out this whole reptilian situation. Who knows when that's going to occur? Let's see one moment. The Greys, yes, the Greys being, of course, used against humanity in various reasons. The Greys also, you can say, pulled in a lot more feline manipulation. Meaning the Greys tested a lot of the felines, pushed it. Meaning there are felines with Zeta DNA, and some of those felines are psychotic, depending on how you connect with it. Some feline beings are, depending on, you have to tap into it on your own, of course. Feline, you have your Greys that you're traditional because they are humanoid, and let's see, they're humanoid and they're just very connected to us DNA wise. They play a big role in our evolution to give us technologies. Of course, there's other species that are behind, behind the curtain, and a lot of it is. Feline is one of the major ones. Of course, you have your bird people, but feline, of course, the statues everywhere showing their imprint is definitely here. So, how do we make one moment? Message from the Anunnaki. One moment. Many of your greetings, we have Anunnaki. Many of us, as Anunnaki reads, were kings of Atlantis. But there's different units, connections to Atlantis that you're not aware of much of the past, but there's different fractions, areas of Atlantis that were ungoverned, and Anunnaki took over. And that taken over, or that command, we did what we wished. Now, it wasn't always to enslave. Some were here to enslave because they thought nothing of the human. Many of us, because of power hungry, is part of it. Once again, why was the human so weak to begin with? Because yes, they were shut off by other Anunnaki. So it was done by sabotage. Humanity was sabotaged in its past. And that sabotage done by war, because Atlanteans were not watching over the humans as they were supposed to, or nobody saw this coming. Every species that was not friendly to your world wanted to control your race. So is there one of the reasons why your world is, yes, at one time your humans were very weaponized, and they still are. But your human became very valuable because it had DNA that we have not seen in a very long time. And it was in your species of human, what made you unique. So, of course, we're going to treasure your society, even use you as slaves until we figure out how to retrieve that DNA from you and use it. Because some DNA can be used, yes, as lethal injections or as positive and create other species along with it. Yes, DNA is the gold of the universe. That's our currency is DNA. You have nice eyes, you have nice lips. You have nice hair. Wow, look how your hair is flowing on your arm. That's very fascinating. It has nothing to do about what kind of boat you fly in or you boat you fly in, but you understand. It doesn't have to do with the clothes that you wear. Some are very fascinated by it. But most alien species are interested in the DNA of how you look, not necessarily judging about, wow, you got, it doesn't matter, oh, look, you didn't comb your hair today. It's nothing like that. Actually, they're pretty interested to see your hair not combed. They want to see you for who you are, and it's all in what created you, basically. Your parents, your lineage. How did you create a person like this? So the cradle of existence is always going to be DNA. It's always going to be going to be part of the creation of your universe is what species was created here first. Now, does anybody really know that? Yes, AI beings have been here. And yes, they're not always the most friendliest. But then again, who is in anything new? Anything new is always going to be a hard lesson to learn. But realize, even with us alien beings, nobody truly knows. Even the spirit world's not always talking. Trust me, you're not the only ones having difficulties with them. Because some of us incarnate, go into spirit, come back, and still don't have the knowledge that we're looking for. Meaning that there are species in your universe that know who was here first, but they're not always telling everyone. And everyone has their own version of truth. But there is a species that knows exactly how this place ever formed and ever got to where it is. Because every alien being you connect is going to have their own point of view. Doesn't make them wrong, but from their point of view, it doesn't mean you're going to connect to exactly where it all came down to. The reason we're bringing that up is because we're your species, the first species that was created in your universe, usually the ones that kind of dictate where things happen, how the world, how the universe goes, where things happen. As anyone that comes in, but then again, there's other beings that come in and change things, like the founders of a business. Sometimes they get ousted as your major corporations. The same thing goes for your universe. It's another way of looking at things. So your corporations currently on their planet is kind of like a mirror in how the universe operates. And yes, there are many at the top that are living it well, and many at the bottom that are not living well at all and pretty pissed off. So this is your world, your world takes it to a whole new level, of course. And the reason we are telling you this is my feel like it's not very that important right now. But over time it will, because as you dig into your reality, who you are, eventually you will find the universe's energies and what your version of it is. Now, bird beings say they run the show. Anunnaki says another. So even the felines have their own version of it. And the ape. Now, the ape, depending on what ape you talk to, feel like they run the show. And they've had a lot of battles with elephant beings that are very large. And have not been, you have some of their energies here on your planet. And also, yes, the insects that play a big role. Your insects, on how you look at it, are very AI themselves. They're biological, but technically they have a kind of AI type of sense themselves. As you know, they're kind of annoying depending on who you are, but they're kind of not necessarily service to self, but they have their kind of own agendas going on, as you can see. Some have flies around you, some have bugs, fleas on their animals. They have it's kind of like an AI energy in a biological way. Insects are, the evolution of AI, you can say. Like it's all in their point of view. So insects have a greater knowledge than maybe you might realize. I mean, they go really deep into your Earth, your universe history, but also your Earth's history. Of why would a planet like this ever be welcome into a universe like this? It's been let's put it this way: this universe has been waiting for this world for a very long time. And once it got it, it's like what first off, what were we thinking? And second off, we're glad you came, and now we're all losing our minds. It's kind of like having you have a party and then somebody comes to ruin it, but talks really loud, laughs really loud. It's like throwing, spitting at everybody when they're laughing. But with that house guest, you weren't a great deal. And it's like, everybody feels like they should leave, but everybody sticks around to see what else this person has to say. It's like, this person's a pain in the ass, but we're wanting a great deal. That's kind of a way of looking at your planet. It's like, yeah, the universe wanted to get the hell away from your world, but once it was here, it's like there's no way of getting rid of it. There was, but many decide not to. It's like, yeah, this might be kind of a pain in the ass planet, but it's also one we probably needed this whole time. Just like when you make like a problem in your life occurs, and it's like over time, it's like, I'm glad that happened. That's your planet times a billion, probably more than that, a trillion. So this is why humans come here. Why beings, species, everybody comes here. They come here to mess up. It's kind of the point. Yes, they're not always going to be failures, but you come here to have failures. That's where you grow. Other worlds like Palladian, Syrian, Anunnaki have difficulties making mistakes. They do, but it's not like your world. Like when your world makes a mistake, people die. On other worlds, yes, that does happen, but now because your world, now that happens on other worlds, it's like, holy, what is, that wasn't always the case in your universe. Of course, you have no way to really prove that. But like I said, this world took it to a whole new. Making mistakes wasn't. It happened, but not like it does now with this planet. This planet causes trouble without even trying, because the mind isn't always thinking, as you know. Connection to the spirit world. So you are having difficulties connecting to the spirit world. You're not the only one. This world kind of screws up other worlds to connect to the spirit world also. Meaning this world lower a lot of other planets and their vibration as it went into its spiral into what it's currently at. But many beings thank this world for that. Many did not. This is why you have the trouble on your planet. Yes, this world even wiped out other planets because of its negativity that were weaker. And yes, you brought in a lot of unfriendly friends here. It's like, why'd you do this? And this is why you have the chaos you have here. When this world went into third dimension, other worlds no longer existed. And there's a lot of them. And so when you have something like that, now you probably feel, now that explains the aggravation on this planet. Now, some of these beings have not gotten over that. You realize many people on your world have not gotten over trouble in their lives. You should answer some of that. We don't have to have the answer to all the alien species because there's quite a few here. But it doesn't mean your world's, it's a troublemaker, but realize men are having difficulties accepting that. But it's a troubled planet. It needs, yes, it needs, this is why the strength of humanity awakening to who you are, your alien friends, your spiritual world, giving your spirit world a hard time. Many of you giving your spirit world a hard time is clearing out the old energies too. There's a war in spirit, yes, in astral, but even in the spirit world. There's a positive side of spirit world, and there's kind of like this gray area in the spirit world. That's what many of you are dealing with at this time. Over time, this will make more sense as you connect. It's not so easy because once the world's blanketed, not realizing the spirit's world is even here. But once again, realizing it exists. You don't have to talk to it every 5 minutes, but they are talking to you. They are working through you. But sometimes they screw up for you to pay attention to them. So sometimes when something in your life happens, I just like, God, what are you, really? So you can pay attention to your spirit guides and everybody. it's a It'll get easier over time when more of humanity breaks out of the spell that your spirit world doesn't exist and realize it does exist. It becomes part of nature. Like this is, you know, everything has a consciousness. Your computer has a consciousness. Everything is listening. They're not all watching you. And if they do, they're laughing their asses off, but not at you, but with you. If you want to be paranoid about all that, please, there's a lot of healing to be done there too. Think about a tree. A tree is like basically naked all day long, 24 hours a day. How do you think they feel? Imagine if you were outside naked all day like that. You know? So obviously you're not built like that, but I think you understand. They have no problem showing themselves off. There's plenty of alien worlds where everybody's nude all everywhere, any place. Of course, in your world, we don't really recommend it at this time, but it's up to you. Of course, there are nudist places, and the comfort of your home, things like that. But over time, yes, the soul is going to be shedding away the old layers. And realize, yes, chaos. When you're paying attention to the spirit world, even if you're bitching them out, that means that spirit that gave you that information to you that was kind of a pain in the ass, you get attention to them, needed your attention, just like a kid in your family. You feel like a guy just like, oh no, I'm worried about this for no reason at all. Thank you, spirit guide, for doing that. That guy needed your attention just like a kid needs you to pay attention to him. Yes, the spirit world is a very bizarre place that you're not fully used to. But over time, you will figure it out. A lot of younger souls want to be known by you. And they are helping you, but sometimes they make stupid decisions once again to make your life a bit aggravated, but for you to also know that they exist. Obviously, that's not going to go well for everyone, but realize the learning experience for you and for them. I do appreciate you to realize that, and it will get easier over time. This is the earth you're on, as you can see. A different place, a place that you would not normally. You're talking about things that the Greeks talked about. Even your Native Americans did not go this deep. Not to say we're going very deep at this time. Actually, a lot of Native Americans are pretty good with the spirit world. Not everybody's going to be like that. Because you're here to shake things up. That's not a bad thing. So blessings to you. Well, that was different. Okay, all right. Much love, everyone. And we'll catch you next time. Tomorrow.